Default speed limit in all parts of Wales where there are streetlights for the last 6 weeks. It'll be 6 weeks this coming Sunday, came on September the 17th. So all roads that were 30 before drop to 20 unless the council decides to opt them out. So what we've done essentially, and this was the advice of the expert panel we set up with Phil Jones led with a number of others, was to turn the current system on its head. So currently it's 30, but you make a case for 20, and we've turned that on its head. So it's 20, but you can make a case for 30. And the early signs are encouraging. So average speeds are down. They're not, obviously, we're not expecting 100% compliance at 20. We're expecting it to settle around 26, 27. But bearing in mind before, even though the speed limit was 30, most people were doing 36, 37. So what we are seeing is the number of people doing over 30 has dramatically fallen, and that's the big road safety win.
Lee explained really clearly that 20 is part of a bigger journey of interventions that will hopefully shift mode away from car use and towards active travel. So 20 is one of a number of things. 20 on its own, anything on its own is questionable in terms of its effectiveness. Everything needs to be packaged with ideally everything else. So if you're going to do 20, do it alongside lots of other things if you really want to see a step change in walking, cycling, and a step reduction in car use.
10 years ago, we passed what we call the Active Travel Act, which is a law in Wales, and that places a legal duty on highway authorities, local government and Welsh government, to develop and maintain a network of routes for cycling and walking. We've increased spending significantly, so we now spend £23 per head, the highest in the UK. That's been a rapid increase in the last 3 or 4 years. Phil has also done an active travel design guidance manual for us. It's on its second iteration, and that's really important in sort of upskilling and making sure that we are building to good practice. One area where we're weak on is on the softer measures, on the behaviour change measures, which we know are critical.
It is a very big change. It's not surprising this has not been absolutely smooth and straightforward. It's something that is really trying to overturn a driving behaviour, I guess, that's existed since the 1930s, since we introduced the 30-mile-an-hour default speed limit. It's quite a simple change. All the other mechanics of setting speed limits haven't changed. So local authorities have always had the ability to set local speed limits. What the now 20 and it's 30 in Northern Ireland is a national speed limit for restricted roads, but local authorities have always been able to bring in a local speed limit to change that default to 20 or 40 or 50 or 60.
So the rule that was introduced for Great Britain was to establish that framework, that those that were most vulnerable, the disabled, elderly, pedestrians, then cyclists, they had more vulnerability, and that others had the greatest responsibility to them, dependent on the vehicle that they were managing, whether it was a bus or a 44-ton lorry or a car or a motorcycle. And it was a proportionate approach to establishing the point that your responsibility was framed around the risk that you posed to others. When we had drink driving rules brought in the early 70s and people got accustomed to the idea that they might be breathalyzed, there was huge objection to the principle that they might not be able to drive to the pub, have 4 pints and drive back. But ultimately behaviours changed and it was accepted over time. But it was never going to be a case that because the highway code was changed on the 30th of January, the roads were suddenly a miracle place for everybody to be on the 2nd of February.